What's going on, guys? Lightning Thunderbolt here. We're back again with some more Sonic Frontiers gameplay. As you can see, we're reviewing the next IGN gameplay, which was released today. We're reviewing the video on the official IGN YouTube channel. This is the combat gameplay reveal. We'll say I got to watch it earlier today with some friends as usual. It's about what most of us were expecting, which is what you're going to see if you haven't already, is that it's not too impressive, but it's also not terrible either. And it's like, I mean, not to say that it's mid necessarily, but I feel like there's some good things to take away from this. But I think what we're going to find, as I'll talk about later in the video, is basically what we're looking for here is what we've been asking for is like a more serious tone overall. Like, we're hoping the story reflects that. There are hints that it will be, especially with Ian Flynn writing it, and of course with the nature of the music and the overall world. But what we're essentially going to be looking for as we watch through this gameplay is, like, in addition to that, is the gameplay a bit more impactful? Does it give it like that extra oomph that we're looking for? Because a story can only really shine at its fullest if the gameplay can help it shine at its best as well. I feel like that's since there's a lot of Black Knight parallels here with the nature of the story. I feel like there's something to be said, since like Black Knight's gameplay wasn't necessarily like the most refined, but there was still something there. And while I have noticed some parallels between Sonic Boom in previous gameplay trailers, I was noticing more and more that there's some parallels between like Black Knight here too. So we're just gonna get right into it and try and look back at some of the stuff that we missed. So anyway, so here's that enemy we saw from the original like 30-second teaser trailer. So kind of just showing you some slow combat here. There's a bit of a dodge roll there. Sonic loses rings when he hits the ground, which is a little weird. So I want to look back at some of these next few bits here. So I don't know if you guys had seen that, but what ultimately happened there was like he was able to basically lock on a homing attack directly from the ground. It seems like he directly locks on. It doesn't seem like there's much issue locking on to enemies. It might depend on the way that Sonic's facing, but I'm kind of hoping there's a bit of a more forgiving range there. It also seems like you can repetitively chain homing attacks or go into punches and kicks, which is good too. And as you can see in this animation right here, I'll play it back for you. It looks like I think I understand now why they needed to include quick step, because it looks like he has a dodge roll mechanic implemented. We didn't see it at first, but we watched it back a few times, and we confirmed, like, yeah, it's kind of a dodge roll. So here, watch again. They're kind of showing you what the nature of this enemy is. It's like, don't attack it when that shield is up there because it can damage Sonic. Wait for your chance to attack. Then watch right here. He dodges backwards there, clearly, and then the quick step is kind of a dodge roll, lets him dodge away. Now watch this. See that? Those moves are kind of interesting. He'll do it again here, but like it looks like you can chain together combos relatively easily. I did want to point this out before, but the sound design choices, I'm liking that so far, because with Sonic Forces, it didn't really have a lot of impactful oomph. It was just homing attack after homing attack. Didn't really feel that great. With Sonic Colors Ultimate, you had what Radical Soda calls the Eagle Screech, which is like the perfect homing attack. Like that constant like ear-splitting noise that just kept going on like again and again and again, and it was just kind of like annoying, and it didn't really add any impact. But when you hear like the punches and kicks that Sonic does here, it's like the sound design. It has more of an impact, and it actually sounds pleasing to hear, and the screen also shakes for extra effect, which is kind of nice when you see that. So it adds that sort of almost anime stylistic kind of vibe, gives it more of a serious vibe. Like watch this combo right here. Like, that looks satisfying to me. Like, chain together those combos. We're gonna go back over this temporarily. Like, that entire exchange right there. There's a lot we actually have to go over there. But yeah, so I do want to talk about like some of the moves here. Like, let me try to play it back a little bit slower if I can. Playback speed. Yeah, let me just put it on slow for a moment. So where were we? Like right here? I just like muted temporarily, but so he's going into like the combos and stuff, right? It's like what that was kind of strange, right? Like at first I was seeing that, and then like I see him doing these combos. Sorry, that was back with a dodge roll. So he does these combos, and then it's like a 2-frame zip all of a sudden, and it's like, whoop, I'm over here now. It's like, wait, what? I mean, that was like I looked at that and it looked kind of strange. But as I look back at it, it's like I guess there's not too much to complain about because it's Sonic physics. But you watch it back kind of slowly, and so like he'll start chaining the homing attacks, go into the punch and kick combos, and then it's almost like like you could say arguably he's right there. They're giving the impression that he kicks off the enemy. That animation needs some work, but then he goes into this with the particle effects, and that's pretty cool. It's sort of light speed attack esque. Like he's able to like with it. Yeah, that one's like sort of light speed attack is because he like zips around. I call it like the. It almost seems like a light speed feint, like FEINT or FIENT. Am I spelling that right? I don't know, but like you know what I mean by like a feint. Like a feint in say fencing is like when you go to attack because it's like I said before. It's like he kind of zips like watch again when he does this. Like we analyze it, and it's like he kicks back off of him. Is the impression they're trying to give, right? Kicking back when it's like, whoop, I'm over here. Nope, I'm over here now. Whoop, over here, over here, over here. And then it's like, it's sort of a thing. It's intentionally where he's like dashing around multiple times to strategically. It seems like that's set because I think it's the same path every time, but strategically to avoid, um, to make him like avoid attacks of enemies there. I feel like this electric shield that this enemy has up here would have been active and hurt him there. But if you look, when he comes in from the attack, he actually doesn't get hurt in that moment. So I think it looks like some moves are going to have more generous hitboxes and hit priority. So that's definitely a positive right there, because that might have hurt him, but it like they decided they'd let him be all right there. Like his hitbox took priority over the enemies there, which I kind of like. The other thing too is I think most of what you're going to see here, looking at this, is there's the animation, right? And the animation is the main issue that many people are having, saying like the combat's decent, it's tolerable. I think the animation is the issue that most people have. But you look at what he does here; he kind of kicks back, and he's over here, and then he's just kind of flying around using, we're assuming, his light speed capabilities with some pretty cool particle effects. And it's just when you think about that, it's like, wait a minute, have we not asked for more Dragon Ball Z or anime type influence with Sonic's moveset like over the years? And honestly, that's kind of the impression that we're being given here with like the moveset so far, with the combat so far. And so I think credit where credit is due. They are giving like there's more impactful sounds. There's a more like serious type of moveset or kit for Sonic here. I'm gonna like go ahead and move ahead and look at some of the other attacks. Sort of in this quarter speed right here. We'll speed it back to full speed soon enough. But yeah, he'll do a few more attacks. The model is slightly different. It does look a bit better, deeper blue. The spines are slightly improved, but it still feels strange. And the enemy's shield is up, but now he's vulnerable. Sonic can go in for another attack. Another chain combo of 3, and it looks like you can tap something. He zips back to do that light speed feint type attack. And he's able to go in there, have priority over the enemy, and then he'll do a few more kicks and punches. And then right here, this next attack, this is basically like this backflip here, and then he goes into this motion. That's definitely a reference to like the Teria from Sonic Adventure 2 when he kicks the egg golem, that he fought in a pyramid cave. When he kicks him in the head and everything. Like, I love the fact that they're making a reference to that. That's some adventure influence. I gotta give them credit. That's really good. I like that. And then this right here. This is clearly the blue tornado. Now, many are saying this animation's not that great, and that's understandable. They'll probably have time to make that a bit smoother. It does look pretty weird looking at it. But I will say, ultimately, I think that I think that it's good that they're bringing back like the heroes influence with Blue Tornado and stuff. I'm glad they're doing that. And I say that's Blue Tornado and not Sonic Wind because Sonic Wind was displayed in this trailer, but I think it's something else. Like, let me actually go back real quick, and we'll run through this again because I wanted to talk about the voice acting as well. Like, we look at this. That looks pretty cool going at full speed. And he's vulnerable. He's invulnerable if someone touch him. He has priority. Then he can attack. Go back to this. You gain priority there. Now I don't know if it's not the best, so I don't know if you noticed the like I'll play it back for like the voice acting style that or the voice direction that they're kind of pushing Roger into here. I don't know if this is his decision or a voice or like voice direction, but either way, you kind of listen to like more of the takes he's doing here, like when Sonic's attacking. Like you kind of hear a Terria there. Like just some of the takes that he's doing, it's not perfect. It still has like that Roger-esque vibe to it, but that's kind of fine. I think ultimately he's going for more serious takes to get more of a serious Sonic. What he's doing here isn't terrible. It's not like super great or anything. It's not my favorite, but it's passable. And I like that he's like trying to get that serious Sonic out a bit more. So, you know, I hope he like, you know, does a few more takes, tries to find that that better sort of vibe to deliver with Sonic, because I'm sort of liking more what he's doing here. But anyway, we'll get into like the Sonic Wind attack in the next few in the next little bit of gameplay here. Then there were like these objects which pop out of the enemies, and I think some leaks confirmed that these were the objects you collect that allow you to get into the cyberspace levels, which we don't know if they're confirmed yet. We haven't seen them yet, but it'll be interesting to see what happens. But anyway, so these enemies, these ones with all the orbs around them, I believe there was like some stuff on Twitter. There was like some translation regarding like this one was called Bubbles. By the way, but as I get into that as well, one of my friends, Johnny, who was watching it with us on Discord at the time, after the gameplay was over, he mentioned that it was very Phantasy Star Online-esque, and you know, I kind of understand that. And he said there was like a lot where you can jump in, do some attacks. You have some vulnerability afterwards, but you can act out of it with the dodge roll. So he said it was somewhat similar to that. And he was thinking that the combat was like, it wasn't, you know, the most spectacular thing ever, but I think he mentioned it was pretty solid. And I agree with that analysis. I think that's pretty good. So we'll look at a few more combos here. Again, the Bubbles enemy. And once again, it's showing off that you have to attack when the enemy's vulnerable. Yeah, more like you're doing more of the dodge roll. The lighting engine looks pretty good. I'm liking the lighting and shadows so far. Looks decent. But yeah, it's as you'll see with more of the enemies, the combat does not appear to be brain dead, which is a good thing. It's not just like one-shotting enemies, or it's not just mindlessly mashing. You also have to like time your attacks, which, you know, is in a lot of good combat systems in many games. So I think we should give them credit for that too. That's primarily positive. But then let's see. I think the attack comes up soon. This right here. I mean, like, come on. You look at that. Let's look at that again. That was pretty hype. I very much liked what he did there. So anyway, right here. Like, my friend Spidey was mentioning, and a lot of my other friends mentioned this too, that when they saw this, we were all pretty much thinking the same thing. That I'm sorry, I can talk tonight. That attack is very Dragon Ball influenced, like, and it's good. We like this. We want Sega to be doing this. This is a good thing, Sega. So you see that? You see? Hang on. Sorry. This right here. This. Yeah, that. Do more of that. More things like that. We want that, because what they immediately compared that to was like the key blast spam or the key blast rush type thing that, like, you know, Vegeta usually fires, and that's a good thing. We want that kind of influence, especially since, you know, with the Sonic's overall design, like, you know, the Super Sonic design being similar to Super Saiyan. We've been through this. We don't need to go over it over and over again. But that's good. And this right here, like it's some sort of wind blade attack where he's like using his kicks to sort of cut through the wind incredibly fast. And it makes sense for him. That's like a good idea to give Sonic a projectile attack. It gives him more combat options. And it makes it because he can run that fast on the ground. Why wouldn't he be able to run in the air and like cut through the air? And that's very fan game influence because I've seen that influence in a lot of fan games. And also for Smash Bros, Sakurai, hello. Why don't we give Sonic a projectile so that people aren't tired of his moveset? Like, I'm just saying, you want him to do more than spin? He can. He can do stuff like this. Look at that. Look how cool that looks. Like that's a clean animation. That feels good. That like I would genuinely enjoy pulling that off. Like that makes me pretty excited. What we'll notice as we go through this is like my friend Scarlett pointed this out. It's like many of us are still a little wary because I think the main issue with the combat that you'll see is some of the animations don't look as polished as they should. I feel like if animations are the issue, they kind of have time. If all of the attacks and hitboxes and hitbox priority are like working as they need to, which all things point to they seem to be in this, and like and that's a good thing. If that's the case, then they should be able to fix animation in the few months they have until release. That all signs point to that being possible. Scarlett also pointed out that many of us were kind of complaining about the idea that the combat looks solid, but the movement for Sonic still feels kind of tight. Well, it still feels kind of sluggish and stiff. And he pointed out, well, how do we know that's Sonic's final movement option? There was pointed out a skill tree, which of course has not been revealed yet. And he pointed out, hey, since that was in leaks, what if there's something where Sonic starts out sluggish, but as you upgrade him, that there's something to be said for when you upgrade him, his speed will increase in addition to him gaining abilities. And I think that's actually a pretty smart idea. I think that might actually be right. Because like if you upgrade him and he gains speed and like better looking run, better feeling of control and speed, it seems kind of Secret Rings-ish, but let's hope if they don't do it as grindy as Secret Rings, then that's definitely a good thing. And actually, that seems realistic. I could imagine them doing that. There's something else that my friend Karubo2568, who I've also collaborated with before on YouTube, mentioned, that he said the combat seems all right, but in his opinion, he felt the Werehog combat was a bit more intuitive, and I agree with that. I feel like the main reason behind that, as you're going to see with more of the gameplay, is that the Werehog has most of his combat options on the ground, or starting on the ground, as where modern Sonic's combat, is primarily in the air. You see it in Smash Bros., you see it in pretty much all of his games. A lot of his attacks rely on him spinning, gaining momentum, and performing maneuvers in the air, which honestly makes sense. I feel like for that reason, it's going to feel less intuitive than Werehog combat, which I agree with was actually pretty good. But I think it's okay that it feels slightly less intuitive just because you're going to naturally have less attack and movement options in the air. But, so far it feels decent. But let's continue to look at the gameplay moving forward. At the combat. So this is another enemy. This is called, I think the first one was called Bubbles that we just saw. This guy is called Defender, and they demonstrate that you can't just directly attack him because he'll just shield himself. For this enemy, you need to use the spin cycle to make him vulnerable, and then you attack the vulnerable spot underneath. And of course, the shell will drop back onto him. So then you need to use the spin cycle to make him vulnerable again. And like even the strong attacks, because it seems like you notice here, I go back and it seems like the strong attacks are more finishers and have like the more cinematic animations. Spin cycle is just a simple defense break, and these seem like I can compare it to say Dragon Ball Xenoverse because those seem like the square attacks or like the light attacks, and then when he goes back to like right here. These would be your light attacks. This would be like a heavy attack, more of a cinematic finisher. I think I heard Roger tried to attempt to do like the Teria there, which I like. It's his own version of the Teria, but it sounds better. He's improving. It's not really great yet, but he is improving, which I do appreciate the effort in. So again, credit where credit is due. And of course, they show off when the shell drops back down, the protective shell. sometimes not. Like there are some enemies, like the Bubbles enemy, it's like some of your heavy attacks will take priority. With this guy, it looks like not even your lights, not even your heavies will take priority over him. You're going to need to rely on the spin cycle to make him vulnerable again. You can also wait for him to attack with that sort of boomerang Beyblade type thing, but of course, you have to, as you saw, it's like they're demonstrating what you're going to need to do with that. It's like they wait for him to attack. You go in for an attack, but you have to get out fast, because if you try to do too many attacks, you're going to take damage. Another thing, too, it seems like the Sonic's health system is still the ring health system, which I'm glad about. And it seems like you only lose 20 rings at a time. Since rings are going to be spent on stuff, I'm hoping it's like you don't lose a big amount or all your rings, and it's like... I wonder like how it's going to be. Again, no HUD yet, so it'll be interesting. We're still not too sure about that yet, but again, it's just analyzing combat for now. Once again, goes for the spin cycle, and is able to continually attack to finish him off. That's kind of cool how they have his that appendage, the Beyblade to the appendage, have like physics after that. Let's show a second example of fighting this defender enemy. His vulnerable part underneath kind of looks like a heart with legs. It looks a little bit weird. I mean, that looks pretty clean. I gotta admit, it's like the animation doesn't look super clean, but because of course like the animation itself, but like chaining combos looks like it would feel clean. That's what I'm trying to say. Like the gameplay itself, combat seems like the appeal of this game. And frankly, I'm glad they're actually doing that. We get another look at the Teraya here, so let's look at that. The Teraya kick. I hope they actually call it Teraya. Yeah, that was pretty cool. So yeah, not even the heavy attacks will do anything. You have to use spin cycle to take this one out. Yeah, it seems like you have some light to heavy combos, so I like the idea of like, you know, you use spin cycle, because like the thing you do here is like, oops, sorry. Use spin cycle, break his defenses, homing attack, chain some light combos, go into a heavy combo with Blue Tornado there. And that, you know, that seems like it would be fun to do. Now that seemed interesting. That seemed like an almost a combination of Blue Tornado. That seemed like an aerial spin cycle, and I like that. That was cool. That was a very practical move. So I want to go back to that actually. So it doesn't knock his shell off, but he does that quick. Yeah, and another thing that was interesting. Remember when we said spin cycle likely has it could slow down certain enemies? You know, that seems kind of interesting. So I'm gonna kind of go back to that. Or does it slow down time? Let me look at the rings. I'm not sure if it actually slows down time. I'm gonna look again. So I'm looking at the rings. It's hard to tell. Maybe they just slow the enemies down on purpose just to give you an impression of like, oh, time's slowing down. Or maybe enemies that are within the spin cycle's range won't react as fast. Difficult to tell. Anyway, moving on. But yeah, this aerial spin cycle thing seems cool. And I like how it launches. That's a very practical move. I like that. Seems to not make him that vulnerable. And it seems like the enemy AI is actually smart. It seems like they have learned something from Forces in that regard, so you do have to give them credit there. Because it seems like with the distance Sonic is away from the enemy and the position that you're in, whether you're in the air, attacking, what button you're holding, it seems like it calculates based on that. It's not the most intuitive or intelligent AI, nor should it be, because you still have to give the player an impression of, I mean, by all means, challenge the player. We want a more challenging game. But it looks like it's going to make us think a little bit more. But finding that balance of challenging and fun is definitely good, and I think they're doing a good job with the combat so far. I like that indicator. Oh, we get another view of the wind blades or the Sonic Wind. I'm just going to call this one the Sonic Wind because that's what it looks like. But we get another view of like if you complete the spin cycle, it's like it's blue, and then it glows pink to indicate that the circle is complete, so you can release the button. Wait, I think it does slow down time. Hold on, I need to look at that again. I need to look back at the boomerang thing he did. Because you look at how fast it whips around. Yeah, that hit him faster. But you look around here, he boomerangs it. Yeah. See, maybe it specifically slows down the enemies for like the enemy encounters. I think there are certain combat actions in order to like promote either the cinematics or like the spin cycle, which will slow down enemy attacks to give the impression of Sonic moving faster. Which is, again, it's somewhat of a cheap effect. It's a cinematic effect, but honestly, it's not that big of a deal. I think that works like fine. The running animation, the max speed running animation is fine. Idle and normal top speed running without the speed burst still seem kind of weird looking, but most of the combat animations look all right, save for a few like the Blue Tornado, which look a bit broken. But I think they'll have time to fix that. I think they need to make Sonic do a couple of backflips when he does that. I think as Evan from Tails Channel put it, the Kaioken style move, where like the light speed feint dash attack thing where he jumps towards the enemy. We need a better name for it. Oh yeah, that was another thing that Karuba pointed out. This is the main issue still, like the momentum, because you see Sonic hit a dash pad there. I do like the sound of the attacks. You see him hit a dash pad, and it's like, and he just immediately kind of slows down after a set amount of time, like when the spline clearly ends, and it's like, oh, that speed loss is disheartening. But again, it's like, that's specifically with movement. Combat so far is seeming to make up for it. I do like the way, look back again, I do like the way that when enemies are destroyed, I do like the way that that it kind of disperses, like kind of like the Dark Gaia enemies in Unleashed. More dynamic explosions. It's not just things falling flat. It makes me wonder too, like with the design of these enemies. It makes you think like, what where are these from? Like it'll probably be explained in the lore, but I'm interested to see what the lore is like, because I mean Flynn's writing this. We're all pretty confident for the story. So we're gonna see. Am I talking too much, guys? I apologize if I am. Just trying to give you a decent analysis. Alright, so these guys. These enemies right here. I don't know if you noticed that, but right there. Watch Sonic. See, when he nears an enemy, they have him go into like this thing where he stops. That was kind of from the trailer, so that was kind of nice. He doesn't, again, with the Forces model, it doesn't look great. But he sort of stops and goes into that open world styled encounter animation, like, oh shoot, there are enemies in front of me, got prepared for battle. I like that extra effect. It gives him more attitude, and that's, overall, it's like a more serious vibe. There's something else we didn't touch on, and that's the fact that there seems to be implemented something that they were trying to do back in 06, which was a time of day system and a weather system, which, you gotta give credit to that. The game looks good, the graphics look good, the game looks pretty beautiful, and I mean, do some of the graphics look bolder than Unleashed? I would say not exactly all the time, but I gotta admit, like, they're doing a good job with this weather and time of day engine, if it's not just in certain areas that it appears, and it's sort of dynamically changing. So these enemies, the ones that look like the Dead Space markers, are apparently called, of all things, they're called humans, and I'm like, maybe call them humanoid instead? Like, why are they called humans? And is that somehow linked to the story because there are humans in Sonic's world? Are these humans that are corrupted by whatever's going on, whatever the antagonistic force is in this world? Because that's kind of interesting to think about. And yeah, as you notice, when they spot you and spawn in, they kind of do like the, some of my friends are like, oh, they're doing the Naruto run. I'm like, guys, didn't the Sonic run come first? And this is sort of interesting, like this little line you see sort of, you know what this reminds me of? For anyone who watched Demon Slayer, it's kind of like the thing where Tanjiro is like, I need to watch for that thread to be taut, like that invisible thread that he sees near the enemy. It's like, when that thread is taut, that means that's my opportunity to attack. And it's like, is that what they're doing? Because that would be pretty cool if that were the case. But all these subtle things that like give it more of a serious vibe and have like an anime influence, and if they're doing more of a DBZ vibe, which the attacks are sort of getting that impression, it's like, yeah, those are all positives. So that's good, Sega. Keep doing that. We notice it and we appreciate it. That's good. So anyway, but yeah, as you can see, these ones they take less hits to destroy, but they seem to attack much more quickly. So you do have to like time how many attacks that you can do. I wonder. I'll need to see what's going on with the with that thread thing there. Is it coming from Sonic or? It seems like it. Yeah, it's like his enemy detection thing. Yeah, you gotta watch out for that. We saw that from the trailer. Yeah, it seems like those don't take too many hits to eliminate. Yeah, it seems like we have... Oh, and that's kind of cool, too. So they showed that you can actually... It seems like you can act out of almost any attack, which is good. There are some where you're more committed, of course. But see, he performs the homing attack to start the combo after the dodge roll. Homing, one punch... Or, I'm sorry, not a punch there. But yeah, he did homing, like the instant homing attack. And then he chose to stop, let the guy attack him, and then he chose to dodge roll, see? And that was good because it was like, if you think, oh, wait, I'm stuck in this attack animation, I can't dodge out of it, there's probably like some delay between switching between attack and dodging, but it's good because they're giving you the opportunity to act out of certain things in combat, and that's more of an anime influence. That's more of like a Dragon Ball type thing, and it's good. It's not going to be like, you know, as stylistic as an anime combat or open world game with a fighting system, but it's, you know, it's sort of a hybrid between like this open world and, you know, Sonic game. And we don't have enough information to see like how the Sonic elements are going to sort of fit into it, but the combat's making me a bit more hopeful. But then we get to see another encounter with the humanoid type enemies. And so you noticed how quickly he took them out. That's showing you like, yeah, you can choose to take them on one by one if you want, or if there's a bunch of them, depending on your positioning. So he took that one out with like a... Wait, why was that just a single hit and that one just was eliminated? I guess it was like a stronger homing attack. Maybe there's a weaken strong button. But notice there, all three of those died pretty quickly. Like they... all three of those were eliminated pretty quickly. Like, it could be because they're lower level enemies, and that's just misleading. But notice how there were some enemies that are, you know, that you have to like combo, like the bigger enemies as you seem to combo. But the ones that are quicker, he spin cycles, and then it's just one shot to take each of them out, you know. And it seems like these grant less XP or less of those collectibles there. But here's the thing: and when you're looking at this, it looks like the smaller enemies move faster, but they don't take as long to take out, and the bigger enemies require you to actually be a bit more intuitive and creative with your attacks to time them and deal multiple hits to take them out more. And you know that's good with the combat system. I think the only thing that might get boring is like if you're running around for too long trying to find something and you're doing the same combos over and over and over again. That's like the only issue here, mainly because I think many fans would feel it doesn't necessarily fit into a Sonic game. Personally, I'm fine with it because I don't mind Sonic taking an approach where he uses his speed more for exploration and combat. I kind of like that. The only thing they need to do is give enough opportunities to do some active and some more active and progressive speed-based platforming, which I think that's like they balance it out with supposedly the cyberspace levels. Of course, they haven't been revealed yet, but we're going to see. I feel like they need to provide some opportunities like that besides just the platforming in the open world. And hopefully Sonic's movement is improved, but we'll see. Anyway, okay, now this looks a bit unfinished. So these are those larger enemies. I don't think these are like those... I don't think that's like the behemoth-style Titan monster that we saw in the cinematic trailer. I think this is like, you know, probably a mid-level large enemy, like probably not the big baddie, like the biggest of the baddies, but a larger scale enemy that like if you activate a certain like enough, it'll start to move. And I'm guessing with it... Yeah. And I guess with enough... Maybe this activates when you have enough XP or abilities to fight it. So when it slams its hand down like that... Well, that was kind of a strange voice acting line. He was like, oh, like, what? What? What was that line? Anyway, we're gonna see what happens here, and like obviously you'll see like these red and blue circles as he's like running up the arm. Like the circles are basically these pulsing points of energy. The red ones launch Sonic backwards. Obviously, Sonic would get damaged if he got hit with an attack, but I think the red circles are like reverse momentum, and the blue circles the blue circles would be like forward momentum, which would push him up the arm. Now you look at this, and it's like that's sort of messed up. But he runs up the arm, it gives him a lot of speed, and he sort of he stops there when he's running up the arm. He runs through, he's running, and then he can't really stick to it. I guess I would feel like if they make that somewhat automated, and yeah, we want less automation. Less automation is good, but the thing is, like this part of the shoulder right here, you can automate just that. Because like, what if you successfully get up the arm, that's automated, and then Sonic runs onto the arm and flips over? Because I mean, I guess it's a stylistic choice because when you see him run up the arm, I guess he gets the speed boost from all the energy orbs there, the circles, and then it'll eventually fling him up because he does go through an animation, and that's just to get him towards the weak points on the top, and then you can just combo them. And the sound effects are very impactful, and I like that. The thing that I don't like is watch what happens when he deals the final blow and jumps right off. He's like, yeah, I did it, and then he's like, oh, I'm gonna faceplant now. It's why? Like, have him land all cool and stuff. Like, why are you? It just seems weird for Sonic. But you know, whatever. Anyway, as you're making him weaker, his attack patterns they make you think slightly more. It's not that much of a thought. See, that does not look clean to me. That was weird. Because you look again, and it's like he was supposed to just cleanly run up the arm there, and I don't think like it seemed weird why he didn't. There's certain parts of the arm that he should somewhat stick to. There should be like a partial spline there. Although, hey, you know, when there's more lack of automation, it gives more control to the player, and that's definitely good. And I'm glad they're doing that in combat because it's more like, oh, if you mess that up, it's kind of your fault as the player. It just feels like there are certain areas like that's a short enough section that, hey, parts of that could be a bit more automated. I don't know. This is kind of interesting. They show that you can choose. It seems like you should try out the spin cycle on a lot of different enemies or sections and see what happens. They're encouraging the player to explore in that sense. Because if you do it on the foot of this guy, it lifts it for a second, he goes off balance, you can perform an attack, and you get something like a piece of him in addition to weakening him more. But you get this part that is obviously, those are probably going to be more rare parts that can clearly unlock something. So those are probably important to grab. Then we see further combat. I do like the way these enemies are, but yeah, the red orbs sort of push Sonic back. You can use the boost dash to sort of get closer in the air, and then you'll have an opportunity to attack these marker-looking weak points. And it seems like you are able to perform combos, and he face plants again. That's kind of stupid. Is there something you can do to sort of land cooler and get style points? I don't know. It seems strange to me because, like, you know, I'm glad you can combo the enemies up there because, like, you know, once again the DBZ style influence attacks, you know, homing, a couple of lay attacks. The sounds are very impactful. You get this cool attack, and that looks cinematic. That's a heavy attack. Why is he continually face planting? Like, he's gonna do that every time? That looks dumb. Anyway. Let's see, now this is somewhat interesting. And it seems like you are able to actively boost up the arm. It seems like you're actively able to initiate the speed boost, so even if you miss the rings, you have a chance. And actually, he did somewhat stick to the arm when he was on there. Like, he was still able to run up it. He didn't, like, fall off. It felt a little bit automated there, but it wasn't the biggest deal, I suppose. And of course, you notice back here, they're now on when he's weak. Excuse me. When he's weak, not that it's that difficult, but you have more of, like, on the arms, he has more of the red orbs, so they're saying, no, you have to think now. You can't just simply run up the arm because they're not all blue, because the red ones will decrease your speed and push you backwards, as they demonstrated from running into the red ones. But the reality is it doesn't look like you can quick step very fast, so literally just go where the blue ones are and you're fine. Because it doesn't look like you can dodge as much while you're running. Anyway, performs a few more attacks. Wait, what was that sound? Yeah. I mean, I guess that was okay. I mean, it sounds, his voice acting is sounding a little bit better. Still needs some work, but anyway, it looks like destroying those 3 arms kind of throws him off balance, and that's going to do it for him. And yeah, so that's pretty much the end of the combat and everything. That was a weird frame to pause on. But yeah, that's pretty much, all there is to go over. I do like that the attacks are cinematic. I'm liking the combat with the big ones so far. And I don't know if you noticed, like, notice the time of day at the beginning when he was fighting this one. Let's go back to the beginning of the battle. Nope, that was the foot. But it seems like maybe sort of a mid-afternoon sunset, perhaps. And notice you're hearing the music that was from the first gameplay teaser trailer before IGN started showing us all of these few minutes of gameplay. The other thing is going to be, like, I hope they have some more variety with the music. I hope that the music will dynamically change, like throwing in some more, like, electric guitars as the enemies get more intense. I'm hoping, like, supposedly the cyberspace music is like, they say it goes hard, so let's hope that's the case. I'm kind of hoping that, like, when you're just running around peacefully, there's, like, piano. Maybe, like, it gets a bit more upbeat as you're running faster. And it should definitely throw in some more guitars in the classic Sonic musical aesthetic style to accentuate that more. So I'm hoping they're able to do that, because all of those are important points. They should definitely be trying to do this as things improve. But, it might be an earlier build. But yeah. The running seems a little bit weird up the arms. I feel like he should flip off and do a cool move. Or, like, maybe if there's an option where it's like, oh, you didn't do the input in time, or didn't get far enough away, and Sonic got flung off, so he got damaged. But if he just face plants every single time, it seems weird. Like, let him do a cool landing. Like, you're going for, like, an anime style. You're doing so good so far, Sega, with, like, the stylistic choices for the attacks. Just go all in. Like, have him do that cool landing pose. I wonder if as you upgrade the attacks more, like maybe that throws him off balance initially, but maybe as you upgrade attacks, he'll be able to land cooler. Like, that'd be kind of cool. Another thing I wanted to point out is the model does seem like it's a bit more upgraded. I think I mentioned it in the beginning. There was some posts on Twitter that pointed out, like, hey, are they using 2 models? Because the idle animations for some of them looked like Sonic's model was upgraded. The idle stance was better. The quills were a bit longer, which is good. They still have this deeper blue here, but maybe the original Forces model is like a placeholder for now. I'm hoping that is the case, but it's not seeming likely. I just hope they've upgraded the model a bit, because the original Forces model felt so short, and with the impacts of the punches and kicks and the attacks, I'm kind of hoping that they make his limbs and his spines just a bit longer to sort of like, the indication of his spine sort of dynamically flowing a bit, kind of like how they did in like '06 or like now P06 is a better example. And that you can actually see his limbs while he's attacking. I feel like those would be important stylistic choices. It doesn't seem like that would be that big of a deal to edit, so I hope they eventually decide to do that. Anyway, just look back at the more of the Titan fight, because yeah, I wanted to because yeah, the sun seems like midday. The bloom seems okay, maybe a little bit intense when the sun is there, but that's probably an intentional choice because the sun's kind of blinding if you're looking right at it. The clouds look pretty nice. It looks like a believable sky. I'm looking at the background and I'm like, this is Titanic Plain, and I love it. Like everyone who's just thinking like it's like, oh no, this is just Breath of the Wild. It's like, listen, Sonic used this aesthetic before. It's Titanic Plain. That's what it is. And given the combat, it seems like they're taking a page out of Black Knight combat and improving upon it specifically just for Sonic. I like that they're giving him a projectile. That's all better. That's all better. Seems like he has the double jump, and that's honestly fine. As long as we can go double jump to air dash. The good thing is it seems like Sonic can act out of pretty much all of his moves, which is good. Except he face plants because, I don't know, stupidity, I suppose. And then, so look how it's kind of more of a sunset aesthetic. It looks like the sun's going down, yeah. Like it seems darker. Like it seems like the surrounding like sky is a bit darker now, so it does seem like there's a dynamic time of day change. So that's definitely a plus. I'm happy for that. I wonder if that was one of the Japanese Sonic voice actor, one of the Junichi voice clips. That just slipped in there. I wouldn't mind if that was one of Roger's voice clips. That sounded like more of like it sounded more like more of an anime character. So I'm glad if they're going with that aesthetic, and I'm glad they're pushing Roger in that direction. That's what we were hoping for. So it seems like they're genuinely listening to feedback. It's more of a positive feel with after seeing this gameplay. The explosion looks pretty cool. Can't be sure. Can't be entirely sure with what was I saying? I'm sorry about that. You can't be entirely sure with like everything that's been displayed because it looked decent with the first teaser. The movement looked a bit slow and stiff, but it seemed like they improved the turning radius, and it seemed like the jump is going to be. The jump's not a big deal if they give him a lot of combat options and a dodge roll that he can act out of. That sort of mitigates the idea that they don't want to really fix jump because it seems like it's more combat focused. And the combat was like the big selling point that I feel like they're trying to have for this game, and I'm liking that. So yeah, it's like the animations still feel a bit off, the movement still feels a bit off, but I feel like they have time to improve the animations, definitely. And like the movement, they could probably make a few slight tweaks, and even if they don't, it likely wouldn't be terrible just because the combat does seem like it would feel decent. Not the best by any means, but I have like a relatively positive outlook going into this, but I'm still gonna analyze it bit by bit. But let me know what you guys think. What are you thinking of Sonic Frontiers so far? This gives me a bit more of a positive outlook on it. Are you thinking it's good, bad? Let me know in the comments. But yeah, are you liking the fact that we're covering this on the channel? Definitely let me know. Supposedly coming Tuesday, there's going to be more gameplay, and that's going to be like with interviews. I'm hoping we get a look at like what I want to see throughout this month to help convince me are definitely like the skill trees or like the ability trees, the moveset trees to sort of see what you can upgrade with Sonic. I'd like to see a view of the HUD. I would like to see the cyberspace levels, because right off the bat, like all that would make it a pretty solid game. What would really push it to be like an actually like exceptional game, like genuinely good, would be having multiple playable characters with different movesets. And as you recall, like Sonic Wind was confirmed, and like the Blue Tornado, and a lot of the leaks so far, in terms of like the order that they're being released, seem to be lining like a lot of the what we're seeing here. The gameplay reveals seem to be lining up with a lot of the leaks that we've been hearing about earlier that many other Sonic tubers had reported on. So that leads me to believe, I mean, this is kind of a positive outlook, because we think to ourselves, now, wait a minute. Some of those other leaks that seemed relatively plausible and mentioned a lot of this, what we're seeing that's here, a lot of the visuals and audio we're seeing here, we think, now, wait a minute. Like they said, Shower coming back, they were basically confirmed, albeit they were sort of strange looking. Most of like the combat style has been confirmed, and most of the way the world looks in the collectibles. So you think of some of the other leaks. Some of those same leaks mentioned that we'd be seeing Supersonic fighting like the really big Titan style monsters. There was like evidence of like there was like what 28 total special stages essentially. So does that mean we're going to get like alternate super forms? Is our Darkspine Excalibur going to be making a return? There was no mention of that, but there was mention. I guess we recollect the emeralds and use Supersonic to take down each island's big boss enemy. And then we think to ourselves, like, there was the mention of Hypersonic, and we think Hypersonic in 3D, could that actually be making a comeback? And if there was any time to do it, it would be in a 3D combat-centric game. I feel like that would be a great time to do it. That would be much appreciated. The other big thing that's on everyone's mind is, of course, the story, which I hope we get reveals of that soon, or at least some hints at that, without spoiling too much, of course, and the idea of multiple playable characters. Like, what do you guys think? Like, do you think that are they mentioned something about like maybe Tails, Knuckles, and Amy would be playable and have different enough playstyles to feel original? Like, what if Amy used her hammer in like sort of an anime sword style? Like, that would be really cool. Like, admittedly, I'd love to see Amy done more justice. I'd love her, like many would like to see her have a more relevant role in the story. I'd love to see that. I mean, you guys know me. I'm kind of a bigger fan of like the Sonic Sally ship. Pretty much always will be, but I'm not opposed to Sonic Amy as a ship as I was before. I would like to just see a better character dynamic. But if Flynn is able to like have better chemistry between Sonic and Amy, have their dynamic be better, and is able to actually have us believe that they can have a more realistic dynamic where people could ship them, or they even make it canon in the game. That honestly, if they do it right, I would love to see it. But what they need to do if they're going to do that dynamic is Sonic needs to not be like brushing her off and just sort of being cringy, being sort of acting cringy every time that he sees her, and she needs to not act like her obsessive generic yandere self. If they manage to do that, which you see a lot in the IDW comics, if they use that kind of dynamic, which is realistic since Flynn is writing this, we could be in for a decent dynamic, a decent story. And I'm hoping that means that the leaks about like more playable characters than just Sonic being confirmed and having actual different play styles with decent movement and like good combat like we're seeing here, because this is decent combat. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, that would be cool to see. But anyway, let me know in the comments what you guys think. I probably rambled on long enough. Most of this video has been me sitting on still frames, rambling on for a while, analyzing things. But I hope you all are enjoying that. It's a bit late currently. I'm not sure if we'll be able to run that new game I wanted to sort of run on Twitch, but I might take a brief break here. I might try to see if I can run it on Twitch. A bit of a late night stream. It likely won't get uploaded to YouTube here tonight, but I will see what I can do. If not tonight, then definitely next week, I promise. Saturday, we're likely going to skip the Saturday stream this week because I have an event to run in a server of mine. However, not to worry, you'll definitely be seeing more content than just Sonic Frontiers analysis videos next week. We want to have some more gameplay, but I'll try to get you guys some gameplay of some new games tonight on Twitch if I can. Anyway, gonna go ahead and close out the video. I've rambled long enough. Thank you all for your time. Hope you've been enjoying these analyses so far, and let me know what you guys think of Sonic Frontiers gameplay so far, because it was sort of like felt pretty good. Movement, I was kind of like but then they showed us the combat system, and I'm like, yeah, I could get behind this. This seems decent. So anyway, I'm gonna close it out there. Let me know what you think. Hope you all enjoyed. Thank you for watching. It's Lightning Thunderbolt signing off. Thank you guys as always, and as always, until next time, keep on staying way past cool.